Good evening. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. With talks swirling about a potential 25% tariff from the U.S., interprovincial trade is back under the spotlight, and how opening up the flow of Canadian goods from one coast to another may help stave off the potential economic hit. Roger Collins joins us now with more. Roger?
Adam, at a glance, easing interprovincial trade restrictions could encourage growth for small businesses, but it might mean you'd see more wines from Kelowna than you would from the Niagara region on the shelves of the LCBO.
You know what? My competition is not my neighbor. It's not my neighbor down the street in Ontario, and it's not BC.
Nadia Senchuk, the president of Leaning Post Wines in Hamilton, is Team Canada when it comes to trade.
It's south of the border. It's France, it's Spain. Those are what we can consider as our competition.
She wishes it was easier for small businesses like hers to move product throughout the country.
We would actually love our wines to be from coast to coast in this country, but there unfortunately are interprovincial trade barriers that are preventing us, and just really putting extra taxation on in other markets in Canada that kind of just make it less profitable and a lot harder for us.
Her husband and business partner, Ilya Senchuk, says many of the rules are arbitrary.
Any Canadian winery that's registered in your province has already gone through all the background checks, all the quality control, all of that. Like, are we really saying that, like, Ontario wineries have lower standards than BC?
But it's a two-way street, and while loosening restrictions on exports would be good for getting Ontario's products out, it means other provinces could also get their products in.
And we realize we're not competitive within the country. So if we could remove interprovincial barriers and not have a tariff in between provinces, it'd be so much better. We could sell more Niagara wines across the province and across the country, rather. And I know that opens us up to sales of BC wines, but I think it's a fair trade.
When it comes to interprovincial trade and cooperation, the Canadian Federation of Independent Business gives Ontario a 7.2 when compared to the other provinces.
There's a lot of room for improvement. There are other provinces that have done an awful lot more. Alberta is a standout and has simplified its regulatory requirements. For whatever reason in Canada, things don't seem to get done unless we have an emergency going on, and we certainly do have one with respect to Canada-US trade. Where
it's like the high-speed rail. It just never seems to happen. A lot of talk and nothing else really happens. So this time, though, the one difference is Donald Trump. He's really united Canada in a way that we've not seen, certainly in my lifetime. And to see everybody ready to actually make concessions, it'll be a major concession for some provinces. It'll cost them money and jobs to wipe out all the interprovincial trade barriers. So I don't know if they can all be wiped out, but there's certainly a much more agreeable consensus around the table right now that all 13 jurisdictions have to do more to really wipe out as many of these barriers as they can.
Earlier this year, the CFIB estimated that removing barriers to interprovincial trade could shore up nearly $200 billion a year for the country.